Hello, I'm Maude and welcome to my teeny tiny micro bakery. I've been baking bread in a kind of nerdy way maybe for like 7 years, and then getting a bit more serious over the last year or so, to the point where I started offering my bread to people in our neighbourhood to trade. And then COVID happened a couple of months later and my work kind of dried up, and my partner Neil and I just decided, let's turn our back room into a micro bakery. I was very much feeling like I would really like to be making something that is essential to people and that, you know, can be a fundamental part of people's life and be a, you know, really important part of a neighbourhood. My dad was born in Malta and immigrated to Australia with his family when he was 5 years old. Bread is really important to Maltese people. They love their hobza. Bread is pretty much a part of every meal I think I can remember having at my nana's house. You know, you have your meal and then at the end the bread comes out and you mop up the sauce or the end of your dish. When I was 11 we went back to Malta and got to visit bakeries and ate our daily pastizzi. I'm inspired by seeing that old way of life in Malta when I was a kid, and you know, every little hamlet, every little neighbourhood has their bakery. Traditionally in Malta, it's a hot country and not everyone even had an oven in their home. So you would have like a little wood, pretty much like a rocket stove people would have to make their coffee and stuff like that. And then if you wanted something baked, if you wanted a baked macaroni or your baked rice, you would take them to the bakery and they would bake them for you in their massive wood oven, which just makes so much sense, doesn't it? Like, not everyone needs to have an oven and be baking every day. Good bread is actually quite simple. I think especially in Australia there's a cultural cringe about bread to a degree, in the sense that it's seen as like good bread is a luxury item, seen as fancy or like something gentrified people would eat. But good bread is actually super simple. Good sourdough bread is flour, water and salt and yeast from the air. It's pretty wild. Like, that's all it is. And time and hands. Sliced bread, you know, bread made in a factory, it's way more complicated. There's way more things they're adding into the bread. Part of, I think, having the bakery at home and starting small and not having big overheads is that we will be able to make the bread less expensive than something that you might get from a fancy bakery in an inner city suburb of Melbourne. I see this little enterprise and hopefully other little enterprises that will pop up in our neighbourhood as being, you know, part of that recovery, and also hopefully transition to a more sustainable, and I don't mean necessarily, you know, sustainability as in the environment, but sustainable livelihoods that work for the environment and work for people and help us to have a livelihood. You know, jobs that can be done locally and from home. That gives you greater independence, I think, and freedom to live a good life. I'm really interested in the idea of home-based livelihoods, and I'm really hoping that people will start to look for opportunities to create their own meaningful work and create a neighbourhood that's really interconnected and really resilient and modelled on those old sustainable ways of living that people had not so long ago.